It's my DVD and Blu-ray update for August 2024. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to my DVD and Blu-ray update for this month. As I said last time, I'm going to try and do these monthly because I'm getting through quite a bit, and it ends up having to do keep having to do two-parters. That said, still a fair bit that I've watched since the last update. I'll try and get through it as quickly as possible. So first up is Carry On Columbus. So this was the Carry On that was made in the 90s. No, it wasn't. 2006 according to this. Okay, I'm sure that's wrong. Copyright on it's 2006, but I'm sure it was made in the 90s. I will clarify it on the screen. This was the only Carry On I didn't own. It hasn't had a DVD release in the UK. This, as far as I'm aware, is the only way of getting it. This is an Australian import. It's not a great release. I'm not sure quite how official it is. The artwork's a bit dodgy. It's only in pan and scan 4:3 ratio. But as I say, it is the only way at the moment of getting it. As for the film itself, I ranked it as my least favourite Carry On, I think, when I did my Carry On ranking, and it stays there, even though that was just based on a long ago memory. My dad had it on VHS. It has some good jokes in it. However, by and large, it doesn't really feel like a Carry On. It just feels like it's trying to be a Carry On. Some good performances. Rick Mayall's excellent in his little bit. Julian Clary is excellent throughout. Jim Dale's a great lead. The sort of old regulars who pop up, like June Whitfield and Bernard Cribbins, Jack Douglas, when they crop up, it's nice. But of the newer cast, a lot of them struggle to sort of fit the feel of a Carry On. It's okay, it's watchable, but it's not great. This is Whoops Apocalypse. So this was a film based on the TV series. I think that's the right way around. But it is entirely different from a TV series. It's basically, how do they describe it on here? Chaos ensues when a US-backed Central American regime invades a nearby British dependency. When subsequent peace talks are sabotaged by a corporately funded world-class assassin, events begin to run away with themselves in the direction of nuclear Armageddon. It's funny. Great cast. Peter Cook is wonderful. Michael Richards is very good as the assassin. Rick Mayall's excellent in his little bit again. Alexei Sales, good when he crops up. Lots of, famous faces appear. I enjoyed it quite a bit. This is Crosby, Stills and Nash 2012. So this I got in a Record Store Day goodie bag 2 or 3 years ago, and it's a DVD of Crosby, Stills and Nash plus a CD, or 2 CDs I think it is, of the same gig. I listened to the CDs ages ago and enjoyed them. Watched the gig. Visually it's nothing spectacular. It's a bunch of musicians stood there playing music. It's not much in the way of a show, but the music is very good. It has made me want to maybe grab some Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young albums and give them a go. Musicianship was great. It was certainly, a good background watch while I did other things. It's Alan Davis, Urban Trauma. So this is my second, I think, Alan Davis live DVD. I was never much of a fan of him pre-QI. When I saw him on stuff, I thought he was all right, but he didn't do much for me. Maybe it's just because he's an Arsenal fan. But, QI made me like him more, and the other stuff he's done since, like As Yet Untitled. This was a good, decent stand-up gig. It's nothing spectacular, but enjoyable. Made me laugh quite a few times. Certainly well worth the £1 I paid him a charity shop for it. As was this. Billy Connolly. Was it something I said? I have quite a few Billy Connolly DVDs. I sort of won't spend big money on him, but if I find one that I haven't got cheap, then I'll get it. He's a master at what he does, and I enjoy what he does. I just find 90 minutes, 2 hours of him, however long, the shows are. This is, just shy of 2 hours. I sort of zone out after a while. But yeah, he's always very entertaining. And that's a good release. This is Doctor Who Season 26, the collection. So this was the last season of classic Doctor Who. Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor, Sophie Aldred as Ace. 4 shows in this series: Battlefield, Ghostlight, Curse of Fenric and Survival. All good. Ghost of Light and the Curse of Fenric in particular. Curse of Fenric, best, in my opinion, one of the best Doctor Who serials ever. Sylv was... my favourite Doctor tends to be whichever one I'm watching at that time. But of the classics, sort of before I really got back into Doctor Who, starting collecting the DVDs and now the Blu-rays, I would have said he was my favourite. Again, probably because he was the last one I saw. But, I was early teen, late, sort of between 11 and 14, I think, during Sylvester's era. So he had a big impact on me. As usual with these releases, tons and tons of extras, most of which are very entertaining and worth watching. This is Stella Street, the movie. Again, this was a charity shop purchase, 25p. When I picked it up, in my head, I thought I was picking up a TV series, but it's not, it's the movie. I have never seen the TV series. But I enjoyed this a lot. So, if you don't know, Stella Street is a sitcom, or was a sitcom, of loads of people, famous people, all living in this suburban street in London called Stella Street. They're all played by Phil Cornwell and John Sessions. Female characters by Ronnie Ancona. It's like, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards run the corner shop. Jack Nicholson lives there. Al Pacino lives there. Michael Caine lives there. Jimmy Hill lives there. They're not all huge stars. And then they also play other characters as well. The local gardener and the landlady and things like that. It is a lot of fun. I enjoyed the film a lot. Plot-wise, it was interesting. I'm not sure the plot really held together, but it was entertaining enough that it didn't really matter. I didn't watch all the extras, but there's a few on there that I watched and enjoyed. That's Stella Street. This is Spies Like Us. So it's Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in a John Landis film. Saw this at the cinema when it came out. Used to get it out on VHS quite a lot and used to really love this film. Revisiting it several years on. For a start, it's a full frame presentation, which is a bit of a disappointment. It's good, and I still enjoyed it, but not as much as I used to. Whether I've just grown out of that style of humour, or I'm a bit more picky with that style of humour now, and at times this didn't quite work for me. It all felt a bit forced at times. But overall, as I say, I enjoy it still. Another Doctor Who, more recent. This is Revolution of the Daleks. So this was the New Year's special, because they didn't do Christmas specials, in 2021. So this is about Daleks coming back, basically. It's a good episode. One of Chris Chibnall's stronger ones. Captain Jack Harkness, played by John Barrowman, reappears in it, which is always good value. It still suffers with being a bit badly written, although, as I say, it is one of Chibnall's better ones. But I've always liked Jodie's Doctor. It's just the way the dialogue she had written for her didn't always work. A couple of extras on there, nothing spectacular. Walking Dead Series 8, or Season 8 rather. I've watched quite a bit of Walking Dead lately, so I'm just trying to remember which one this is. So this was sort of the series where the Saviour's plotline with Negan and his group and their rivalry with Rick's group, etc., climaxed, as far as I'm aware, unless it returns later on in future series. It was a strong series. There's been better ones. There was a few weak episodes in it, but by and large, it was a strong series. This is Shrek Forever After, the final chapter, which, as we all know, isn't the final chapter because they're making a new one now. This was a charity shop purchase for £2. Not only it's meant to be a 2-disc set, DVD and Blu-ray. Not only has it only got the Blu-ray in it, which is fine because it's the Blu-ray I wanted, I don't think it's the correct Blu-ray for this set, because according to the back, it should have all those extras on the Blu-ray, and there are no extras on the Blu-ray. So I think somebody has maybe bought a steelbook or something and swapped the discs out or something. I don't know, but it's not what it should be in there. But I bought it for the film. I didn't have the film. I hadn't seen the film. I've got the previous ones, the first 3. So wanted this. Enjoyed it. It's, typical Shrek film. I don't think any of the sequels have been as good as the first, but they've still all been enjoyable. So I finally got round to watching the Blu-ray part of the Prince of Revolution Live little box set thing, which came out God knows how long now, 2-3 years ago. Was it a significant upgrade from a DVD? It didn't feel it visually. DVD came with the Purple Rain Deluxe Edition release. Slightly better, but it's, you can't polish a turd, and it was a, videotaped show that was broadcast live around the world by satellite. It's never been the best looking thing. It's probably marginally better, but nothing significant. But the audio is a lot better. It's mixed into surround, etc. Masterful. This is W by Oliver Stone. So this is Josh Brolin playing George W. Bush. This covers, although it's got flashbacks of Bush's early life, this sort of covers the post 9/11 era where they in Afghanistan trying to topple Hussein in Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, balls up and all that sort of stuff. Excellent performances, really well done. Love Oliver Stone anyway. Yeah, enjoyed it a lot. This is Vixen the movie. So this is an animated movie. So let me anymore. Yeah, so this. In fact, I think all the films, not the TV shows that I'm going to show, I think all the films from now on were given to me by my good friend Craig Huntley. I won't go into details about that because I tell you about that in practically every video. But yeah, he said, "Do you want this one?" I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." So it's based on a DC comics, and it's from the same universe as Flash and Arrow and all those TV series, and it's got the cast of those series voicing their characters in this. But it's about Vixen, who has an amulet that gives her the powers of animals when she calls upon them. And this is sort of an origin story. It's very entertaining. It was very well done. You know, it didn't make me want to watch more of the DC animated shows, but if somebody gave them to me, I would happily sit and watch them. But yeah, as I say, I enjoyed it. It's got some of the DC animated shows as extras on those. They didn't do much for me. Another Doctor Who, Mrs. Flux. So this is the series after Revolution of the Daleks. This was the 13th series, the last full series for Jodie's Doctor. He says, just checking, yes. So Graham and Ryan left at the end of Revolution of the Daleks. This introduces John Bishop as Dan, as the companion, joining Yaz and the Doctor. This was made during lockdown, and so it's a truncated series. It's only 6 episodes, and it's although it's got sort of standalone-ish episodes within it, it is this is a 6-episode arc story. By and large, probably Jodie's best series. Still lots of places where the dialogue is so poorly written, particularly the explanation stuff and the technical stuff, that it feels wrong. That's, my biggest gripe is that Chibnall, rather than, it's a visual medium, so rather than showing instead of telling, he shows, you think, oh yeah, that's what's happening, and then he gets the Doctor to tell us what's happening anyway, but that's not necessary because we've seen what's happening, and that happens regularly, and it really winds me up. But otherwise, yeah, as I say, probably Jodie's strongest series. Then we have, it's just specials after that, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So this is another one from Craig. This is The Stone Roses Made of Stone. So this is Shane Meadows' documentary about the return of the Stone Roses. And it sort of goes back and tells their story up until when they reformed in 2012. Stone Roses are a band I should like more than I do, but I bought their debut album on CD and it left me a bit disappointed. I think it was just the production of a mix made it not sing for me, because watching this I really liked all those songs and the performances of them, so I need to give that album another go. Maybe get it on vinyl, see if that helps. But yeah, very entertaining. Loads of extra performances and what have you on there, which I didn't watch, to be honest. This is also from Craig. This is Royal Tenenbaums. This is a US Criterion release. In a thick case, it's 2 discs. Again, I didn't watch all the extras. I've got too much to watch, so unless there's particular extras that appeal to me, then I don't tend to watch many extras nowadays. This is my first Wes Anderson film, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent. So it's about the Tenenbaum family, who are all eccentrics, and it's hard to sort of go through the plot because there isn't much of one really, but it's just it's funny, it's entertaining, it's brilliantly acted, and I do recommend it. This is Oliver Stone's America. This is just basically an interview with Oliver Stone. It's about 50 minutes, but it's very interesting. He's a fascinating man. It's sort of his attitude to filmmaking and the impact of his films and censorship and stuff like that, rather than a biography of him or anything like that. If you're, it's a DVD extra really, but if you're a fan of Oliver Stone, it's well worth a watch. This is No Direction Home, Martin Scorsese's film about Bob Dylan. It mainly concentrates on his early years up to him turning electric. Very interesting. So Dylan, I really struggle with his voice, and even watching this, a lot of the time I still struggled with his voice. I think he's a great songwriter. He's written some magnificent songs. I think he's a fascinating artist, but I struggle listening to him because of his voice. People have said to me, yeah, but he's got different voices. Yeah, but 90% of them I struggle with. Particularly when he was singing live on the electric performances. He was so nasally exaggerated. I've really struggled with those, unfortunately. But I enjoyed this documentary. I say it was fascinating. Well worth a watch if you're just interested in music, really. This is the Monster Squad. So this is a film I'd sort of heard about but didn't know much about. I was sort of aware it existed and that it was meant to be fun. So when Craig offered it, I said, yeah, I'll have that, please. Dylan came from him as well. I really, really enjoyed this. It is basically the Goonies, but with the Universal monsters in it. Although the writer and director claims he hadn't seen the Goonies. But that's basically what it is. It's a bunch of kids investigating these monsters and getting into trouble, basically. But it's really well done. It's funny in parts. The kids are good. The only negative, really, I've got with it is that some of the insults between the kids are very much of their time. And they wouldn't be allowed to use nowadays. And it's sort of... I'm not normally sensitive to that sort of thing. And they weren't insults that mean anything to me personally, if you see what I mean. But for some reason, they just really took me out. You know, they just made me feel, oh, that's not necessary. You know, maybe I've got a bit brainwashed. I don't know, but you know, them calling each other the I'm not even going to say it on here. The slang term for a homosexual beginning with F, that is also a meaty, delicious food item, or a name for a little bit of coal used to light a fire. Rhymes with maggot, if you haven't got it from that. They used that quite a lot, and as I say, it sort of, you know, first time I heard it, I sort of winced, and every time it was sort of, they're really overusing that. It's written by Shane Black, who is a great screenwriter and director. But yeah, other than that, really, really enjoyed that. Walking Dead complete 9th season. So this is probably my least favourite season of The Walking Dead, or right down there with, I think it was season 3 I've struggled with. I think it was 3. It was one of the earlier ones that didn't do much for me. There's lots of time jumps in this, which doesn't help. Some major characters either die or leave the series, or just go missing for a big chunk of the series, which again didn't help. It picks up a bit towards the end with the Whisperers appearing. And I'm about to start season 10, and I believe there's a lot more of them in that, which I'm quite looking forward to. But yeah, it's definitely feeling it's starting to run its course, which of course after 11, that's it of the main series. 2 more. Again, both from Craig. This is Money Talks. So this is an action comedy starring Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen. Chris Tucker plays he runs a car wash, but he's involved in all sorts of dodgy deals. He's a ticket tout. He, you know, just basically any way he can make money, he does. Charlie Sheen is a reporter who does a report on him, or wants to do a report on him. It doesn't work, so he gets him arrested. Chris Tucker unwittingly gets involved in a major prison break, type thing, as they're being transported to prison. Loads of deaths. He finds out that there's a load of diamonds hidden in a car. Police think he's responsible for these breakout and the deaths, etc. He goes on a run with Charlie Sheen. So on and so forth. It's your typical late 90s, noughties action film. I'm not entirely sure what year this was. It's good. It's an entertaining version of one. I enjoyed it a lot, apart from the fact I don't like Chris Tucker. I love The Fifth Element, but I don't like his character. Well, not necessarily his character, but his performance in it. Bits I've seen of him in other stuff I've not particularly enjoyed. It's put me off. I've never watched the Rush Hour films, for example, because I don't like him. Craig offered me this. I thought, well, I'll give it a go. Maybe he's not as bad as I think he is, but by and large he is. He does nothing for me. I don't find him funny. I find him irritating a lot of the time. So that pushed it down a bit for me. But if it was somebody else in the Chris Tucker role, this would be one of the better action comedy type films, in my opinion. And finally, Mimic. This is the director's cut. So this is Guillermo del Toro's director's cut. I haven't seen the normal version, which apparently is a bit of a mess, and he hasn't actually disowned it, but he was never happy with it. I enjoyed this a great deal. It's very well done. Basically, Mira Sorvino plays a bug expert who, there's a cockroach problem in, I think it's New York, but if it's not, it's somewhere in America. Yeah, it is New York. In New York, and they're carrying a disease that is killing kids. So she develops a hybrid bug that will destroy the cockroaches, which works. These are specially designed and bred so that they can't breed. So after about 6 months, they should all be dead. 3 years later, that works. 3 years later, it turns out that they've sort of mutated, and there's these giant bugs going around killing people, and it's trying to stop that, basically. So it's sort of like Alien with bugs set on Earth, if that sort of makes sense. But yeah, it's really well done, suspenseful, well shot, enjoyed it a lot. There you go. That's not too bad. That's everything I've watched in the last month or so. Still loads to get through, but I'm getting there. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.